Gerhard Berger, the popular, cheerful Austrian, who is taking the place of Niki Lauda in the affections of his home country, left the Benetton team last year after winning in Mexico, after giving the Benetton team their first ever victory. He joined Ferrari. He has signed for 1988 as well, leaving the Ferrari lineup for next year unchanged. Behind the Ferraris is Andrea De Cesaris, a man who's taken his share of criticism over the years, but is in good form here at Silverstone. He's been very quick in the Brabham BMW, and he is ahead of Stefan Johansson, the Swedish driver, who left Ferrari after 2 years at the end of last season and joined the McLaren team as teammate to Alain Prost. De Cesaris, of course, is pushing earplugs into his ears. And there is Stefan Johansson. Little Leaf, he's got his nickname, so called because he has leaves on his helmet. You'll see them very shortly. His father is Leif Johansson. He's Big Leaf, and here is Little Leaf. And Little Leaf went extremely well in the warm-up today. He was 4th quickest compared with his 10th position on the grid, which indicates that Prost 2nd quickest and Johansson 4th quickest have got cars in the McLarens with their tag engines that are very well suited to this circuit. That's Riccardo Patrese, the man who has got considerably more Grand Prix under his belt than almost anybody. This is his 151st Grand Prix. Very few drivers in the history of the sport have raced more Grand Prix than he has. He has won unofficially the World Endurance Championship for Lancia twice and finished 2nd one. On his left is Paul Rocha, the fabled BMW engineer. Now, you've seen a lot of shots from this. Let's hope that today we see rather more, because in the past, incidentally, this is Nakajima. There he is, the only Japanese driver in Grand Prix racing, and he's done extremely well to get 3 points already, because every circuit he has driven at has been for the first time, or almost every circuit, certainly in a Grand Prix car. Now you are looking at the camera's eye view that we hope to be giving you a lot of shots from. Nakajima, in his first Grand Prix year, has finished 5th in Belgium and 6th in San Marino, after being Formula 2 champion of Japan for 5 years. He knows Silverstone, and so, of course, does Derek Warwick here. He, apart from Nigel Mansell, of course, who is 2nd on the grid, is the top British driver here today. He's driving the Arrows Megatron, having driven last year for Brabham, and before that for the Tolman team and Renault, of course. And we all hope that Derek Warwick is not only going to get a finish here today, but score some points as well. He has failed to finish in any of this year's Grand Prix. Well, what's it like to go round Silverstone? Let us ride with Japanese driver Satoru Nakajima in his Honda-powered Lotus. We are now going down towards Copse Corner, the first right-hander. 4th gear, 135 miles an hour. That is just washing liquid, clearing the leads. Watch his right hand. 5th gear, now 6th gear. He's going towards round the left-hander at Maggots at about 165 miles an hour. Down to 3rd gear for Beckett's, round the right-hander there. Then he sweeps left for Chapel Curve, coming up to the fastest part of this course, Hanger Straight, at the end of which he will be doing very nearly 200 miles an hour in 6th gear. Down a gear to Stowe, there it is, 5th gear for the right-hander, 150 miles an hour. Absolutely flat now on the sprint down to Club Corner, 100, believe it or not, 160 miles an hour. Then he lines up for the very, very fast left-hander at Abbey, slightly uphill. Sweeps left, keeps his foot hard down, building up to 200 miles an hour. You see the bridge in front of you, and now you're going to go round the acute left-hander, which is new at Silverstone, 2nd gear, 85 miles an hour. Now right, and he goes into the pits, where he would normally be changing up into 6th gear to go across the line at over 190 miles an hour. That is a ride with Satoru Nakajima. You've seen them all, you've been round the circuit, you know most of what it's about. Here is the man to tell you the rest of it. James.
Well, Silverstone at least is not too hard a circuit physically for the drivers. It's reasonable straights, long and sweeping. It's a very fast circuit, so the race is a relatively short one time-wise. But today really looks to me like a 3-horse race, possibly a 2.5-horse race. The two Williamses have looked quite dominant in practice. Nobody could really get near them. There's Frank Williams in his pit, in radio communication, of course, with his drivers during the race, and despite his immobility, still very much in control of the team. So really, it looks very much as if it's the two Williamses. If they can avoid trouble, they're going to be very hard to beat indeed. They had a little bit of trouble with tyres. They're quite hard on tyres, and they blistered a couple of tyres in the warm-up this morning, so they're going to have to go carefully in the early part of the race. But the only real threat to them that I see is Alain Prost, with possibly Stephanie Hansen backing up in the other McLaren if Prost has any trouble. But if the Williamses can look after their tyres and don't run into any mechanical trouble, Prost is going to have a job to stay with them. The one possible advantage that McLaren have got up their sleeve is that they think, well, they hope that they might be able to go through the race without a tyre stop. Their car is quite easy on the tyres, and they will wait for their tyre stop till after a few other people have stopped, so that they can look at the wear rate on other people's tyres, which is a fact that Goodyear make available to other teams when the tyres come off a car halfway through the race. So they'll be taking but they will in fact be making their decision during the race, but they're hoping they can manage without. Here is the view from Nakajima's car, the onboard camera, as engines are fired up, ready for the cars to go out. Round Silverstone, just on 3 miles on their parade lap. Nelson Piquet on pole for the first time this year will lead them round. And they'll be using it mainly just to warm their tyres up and get the feel. Of course, this race will be hard on, is a tough one on fuel consumption. You can see